What's going on, guys? Today we're going to talk about my Eberlestock Gunslinger II. This bag is set up for NRL22 or PRS22. That was a big passion of mine prior to getting into PCSL shooting, which is PCSL, for people that don't know, is two-gun shooting with rifle and pistol. And I just wanted to show you the setup that I had for competition 22 shooting. Don't get me wrong, I will go to some matches in the future, but I won't pursue it like I did before, aka, going once a month to a different state and shooting a match. That was just, it started to get a little too taxing as far as, family life and two kids running around kind of deal. When they get a little older, I would love to take them back out and do some competition shooting with them with the 22. But this bag has not been staged in any way. This is exactly how I left it when I came home from my last shoot. So without further ado, let's get into it. I'm gonna work from the top and I'm gonna work into the belly of the bag. But there also is something pretty cool with this setup. There is a rifle scabbard in the back. And that's the main reason I got this bag. I did a NRL Hunter, well, it's NRL X, which is usually like the matches with the prize tables, a bigger match. NRL X match, where you had to hike all your stuff in, which it's not like doing Mammoth or anything like that. I think it was like maybe you walked 2 miles the whole day. Each station was, 200 yards apart. It's nothing really intense, but you want to have a good bag while you're doing it. I think my Rim X weighs like 25 to 27 pounds, if that gives you any idea. And I threw it back here and walked it to the next one, no problem. So in the little admin pouch, let's go through it. This thing is jam-packed full, but don't let that fool you, because everything in here has a purpose and definitely gets used. The first thing is just have a little battery pack from Max Position, and it just has your standard, CR123s, AA's, and it has a lot of your, button batteries for your scopes and whatnot. I have 2 Rim-X magazines with the extensions on them. And I do keep my magazines loaded. I know there's some people that say don't do that, but is what it is. I like to shoot when I go to the range. I don't like to load magazines. I have a Kestrel ballistics, but I did upgrade to the applied ballistics and haven't looked back. If you're shooting 22 long rifle or anything distance wise and you don't have a Kestrel, you're kind of hindering yourself. If I had to give any advice to somebody getting into 22 LR or PRS, it would be don't buy a tripod, don't buy glass. When you're first starting out, I would get a rifle, decent scope, and a Kestrel. And then, because people are going to let you borrow glass, people aren't going to let you borrow a Kestrel, because there's a lot of stuff you have to set into it to be accurate with it. I have a lens pen. I'm very, very skeptical about touching my lens in the field. That is something I like to do in a controlled environment, aka in my home, when I'm not worried about dust and debris falling on it. But if it just gets to the point where I can't see through it, that's when I'll bust out the lens pen, but I'm very careful with it. This is just one, a generic one off Amazon. Has the felt tip on one side, and then you push up the little thing, it has a little gentle brush. I have a backup Sharpie for when I get into the bottom of the bag. You'll know why. I have a little clipboard in there. That's how I set up my dope. Multiple target engagements. You want to sit there and figure out what your holdovers and things of that nature are. So that's why I have an extra Sharpie, because in case the other one goes out. I have a Gray Ops. This turns my regular tripod in that I'm using to film with. It turns it into the ability, it's like a double arc clamp. This little piece was very expensive, only used once, but it turns that into where I can use it as a tack table with some gear I already have. I have a power bank, that's just for my phone. This is another pretty valuable thing, which is it's just a dope book. Dope is not methamphetamine, it's not crack cocaine, it is simply data on previous engagements. So I have just some basic knowledge of my holdovers in case my Kestrel goes down on whatever ammo I'm using at the current time. Just a cheap book. Go get you one. Have a hard copy, because the Kestrel is phenomenal. I've never truly had one go down on me, but if you get out there and you erase your profile, you're gonna wish you had at least something to go off of. And then there's the pin that goes with that. And that is it for the top. And it does have a little key ring retainer. So we'll get into the belly of the bag. As you can see, it does have like a little morale patch. That's where I hold my data card, and just so I don't lose it. Now, don't get me wrong, in my tripod caddy, I usually keep about 4 data cards so I can go back and forth with them. And you can see I have painter's tape on there. I just stripped the painter's tape off, add a new layer, and right on it. Is a lot more effective than using like alcohol, because with the little alcohol wipes, because you have to carry alcohol wipes with you, and it's just more of a pain. Painter's tape is the way to go. So in the belly of the bag, this is another reason I like this bag a lot. As you can see, I got it stacked in here. The first thing, I have my Fix-It Sticks Armor's Kit. I'll have a separate video on that. It is a lengthy video, but I wanted to give it its day on YouTube, as they say, because this is a very valuable but very expensive kit. So, do you need this? No. This is a luxury more than it is a needed item. I have some cheap Vortex Diamondback binoculars. Now, you're gonna laugh at me when I say cheap, because these are $200 binoculars, but in the PRS game, there's people running $4,000, $5,000 binoculars, and to be honest with you, these have done me just fine. And then I have the little Vortex foot so I can put on my tripod, and it just sits in this little case. Now, if you're going to do hunter matches, you are going to need to invest in something like the SIG range finding binoculars, but that's a whole different gamut. This is just how I have it set up. I only ran one hunter match, and I borrowed some SIG 3000s, and they were fantastic, but I only needed them one time in my whole entire life. I have a rule when it comes to borrowing things and buying things. If I borrow it from you 3 times, that means I need to go buy my own. If I don't borrow it from you 3 times, that means I didn't have a use for it in the first place. What just fell on the ground is, so when you go to these matches, sometimes they'll give you a sheet that'll tell you basically the course layout. And these little clipboards I found on Amazon are worth every penny when it comes to doing your data. As you can see, I have my old data stickers or data pieces of tape on the back. And also, a lot of people have laughed at me, but I printed out a reticle and I laminated it and I attached it to the back of my board. Because when you're sitting there and prior to going on your stage and you're saying, hey, I need to hold 5 MOA, 10 MOA, 15 MOA above my target, and you want to get a visual on what you're doing, it's really hard to do that unless you get down behind the rifle. This lets me sit here and look at it and say, okay, this is where my 5 mark is. My 3 mark is this. My 7 mark is the shorter or longer line. It just kind of helps me out. It takes a little anxiety away from what I'm going to see on the scope. And it just gives you a place to do your math, keep your scorecards. As you can see, that's 1, 2, 3. That's 3 different scorecards, or 3 different matches worth of information I have here. And it really doesn't take up much space, but it is very valuable for when you're sitting down and getting your data for the next stage and getting it on your dope card. Like I said, I don't like touching my scope glass with my hands or fingers, or even the little lens brush if I don't have to. But this is something that I found very valuable for when it rains. You get the little water droplets on your scope, and all this does is just blows little puffs of air on the glass of your scope, and it just dissipates that water, or maybe get that extra dust out of there. This is the Amazon cheap one. This is a knockoff, I think, of like a Rocket or something like that. But this was like 10 bucks and works just as good. Highly recommend for that. This is my Gray Ops bag and plate. Now, when I first got into shooting, I depended on this thing a lot. The further I got along, I might use it in, we'll say in 2 matches, I might use it once. And that's usually going to be like a ladder stage. If you're not familiar with NRL22 or PRS, it is a positional thing. You're shooting off of objects with a really heavy gun, so your bags are going to be valuable to you. But as far as this being valuable, it has its place, but don't buy this right off the bat. I think there's better options to buy, and somebody's always going to let you borrow one. But as far as Area 419 versus the Gray Ops gear every day of the week. Area 419, I've had the bags fall off, the the whole plates fall off on me before. Just save up for it and buy the little combo from Gray Ops gear. Now, the most important thing you can have other than a Kestrel, a gun, a decent scope, and some ammo is a Armageddon game changer. This is what you need. This is what you want. You're going to use this every stage, no matter what. You're even going to use it in between the stage to prop your rifles up downrange or point them downrange. Don't skimp on the bag. You go out and buy an Armageddon sandbag for your first one. You'll thank me later. You'll save money, and you'll be just as happy. But don't go out and spend the money if you don't have to. People will always let you borrow the gear. So that is a good overview of what I have in the bag. Just to give the bag a little shout out here. It is a very handy, light bag. Everything has the ability to be strapped down very well. It is a hard, rigid frame. So it kind of has the adjustments right here, so you can adjust it to your body. It has all the little fancy clips, and it does come with a waist belt. I took the waist belt out. Actually, I think it is down here. Nope. So what I have down here, so in the actual scabbard part of the bag, let's see. So in the actual scabbard part of the bag, I had an empty water bottle because I don't want to leave trash where I go. I have some volleyball knee pads, and make fun of me if you want. I like to wear shorts. These are 10 times better than the hard knee pads because they slide over and you barely feel them throughout the day. And when you don't need them, you just slide them down over your, where your socks would be, if you're wearing tall socks, and go about your day. But you're usually kneeling on gravel, or usually gravel, and that really bothers you when you get down to, you sit down, you get at the sharp rock in your knee, you can't focus on shooting. This is a short action precision mag carrier for my Remex. I always keep an extra magazine on my belt. And the final thing that I carry is a Pelican case. It's a 1040 case, and it has the 3D printed block in it, which I have printed myself. Has a 3D printed block that corresponds with the little rubber molding. And what this allows you to do is, one, keeps your ammo dry and safe. And when you open up your SK, here, let me see how I can do this without, let's put it down. So when you open up like SK or Lapua ammo, they come in these little trays. You take them out of the box, and then you simply just put them in the slot. And now you have a way to lock up your ammo, and it's not gonna flip out of the thing. It's gonna stay watertight, and it's the best way I've found to do it so far. And when you need it, you just load it, and you got a stable platform. What you will see, another 3D printed product that I grabbed out of here, is when you put the extensions on the Remex magazines, and it gets down to where it should be, which is that little red mark. If it goes below that, you have to grab the ammo. You see how it's disrupting the ammo within it, right? So this little 3D print just helps, make another shelf so you can load your ammo up. Not something that's needed. There are other workarounds for it, but I've found this very valuable, and I always run one as far as Rim X mags go. And that just sits in my little holder. So guys, that is just an overview of what I'll take on a match. Like the last one that this is actually packed for was a 2-day match. And I ended up getting like a Savage rifle off the table. I think I came in, I don't remember, like 7th overall or something of that nature. It's a pretty good little shoot, but ever since then I found the PCSL route, and I'm trying to just broaden my expertise on, you know, different gun platforms and stuff. And the PCSL, they are closer to home, and I'm usually done faster, and I get a lot more trigger time, because usually the day matches are 100 rounds, where I'm shooting roughly 200 rounds. You know, I'm shooting 400 rounds of rifle and pistol in the same time I was shooting 100 rounds of precision rifle. But so that's the overview. I will answer any comments or questions that you have. Just drop them down in the comments. If you enjoyed this footage, you want to see more 22 information, just let me know. I can always do that for you, but I just need to know a direction to go. If you have questions about anything you've seen, also ask me. I will be happy to elaborate. Anytime I get to talk about gun stuff is a good day for me. With that being said, y'all have a great day, guys and gals, and catch me on the next one. It's going to be an awesome journey. See ya.